So yes, so regarding 1st of June, with respect to the interview, so I told you, I'll share you the timing. So the timings would be somewhere around 11 or 11:30 it will start, and each person will be given with 15 minutes of duration, wherein your mock interview will be done. It's just 15 minutes. It's just very small duration. So we're going to cover few of the questions in that duration, and make sure in whichever slot you are there. When I say the slot, the timing that has been actually dedicated to you. Okay, please make sure that you are available at that point of time. Okay, that particular time. That is one thing. And yeah, so the link will be shared with you guys for the mock interview. And once that has been shared, okay, so it will be the same link for everybody. Everybody can join together, but I don't want everybody to be on the same call, because the person who will be interviewed, they might not feel comfortable, and I will not be able to concentrate more on that person. So he or she becomes conscious. So please don't try to join. Only whenever we tell you to join, only in the time slot that has been mentioned for you, specifically for you. So please join at that time. Okay. So how does this go? Maybe, for example, at 11 or 11:30, which is the first, whoever is the first candidate. So we'll start with the interview. We're going to ping the person's number in the group, same group, QC18. Okay. We're going to mention the name of the person. That person should be ready. Okay. In that time slot, please be ready. So once you join, once the interview is done for that person, he'll leave the meeting. So in the chat itself, we'll mention that the other person, please be ready. So you have to be ready. So don't wait for us to mention that explicitly. So you please be ready. And when I call out the second person's name, second candidate's name, so please be ready to join. Please join as soon as possible. Please don't take a lot of time to settle yourself. Okay, keep everything ready, and please join. Please don't panic, guys. Please don't panic. It is just that whatever you know, you're trying to showcase that, right? So please don't get nervous. Please don't panic. We are not going to sue you, right? Okay. That is one thing. I hope everybody got it. Any questions? Any doubts on this? Gautam will be sharing the slots. Okay. Maybe by end of the day or tomorrow, he might share you with its slots for the mock interview. Any questions you have on this? Okay. Okay. It includes both. The interview question will include all the concepts, whatever you have learned till today at QA Circle, manual, mobile, API testing, and when it comes to mobile, ADB, Android Studio, whatnot, Charles Proxy. So it includes everything. SQL. Okay, you have to be ready, guys. Any questions? Yes, no? If no, we can proceed further. Yes, Pavan.
I said no, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we'll proceed further. So coming to the interview questions. So some of you said that we can you want to discuss about the real-time questions. So see, nowadays what's happening is, if you say like 2 years, 2 years of experience, yeah, you might expect some of the straightforward manual concept questions or any other concept. Okay, so you can expect straightforward question. But when I say like 3 years, more than 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of experience, what you the questions that you the questions that you face or the interviewer ask would be more on real time based questions, or real time scenario questions. So if this happens, what was your approach? What is your testing strategy? These kind of questions would be asked. So we have made some set of questions which might help you in trying to answer. So we'll go through those questions, and that is where you get an idea of how you need to answer. What is that the interviewer expects? Okay, we'll go through that. And I can never say, see, even today, if I attend an interview, I really don't know what are the questions that he's going to expect. I mean, what are the questions that he's going to ask and what are the answers that is expecting. Okay. So each person is different. The way he's going to ask question is different. The questions that each and every person asks is different. Okay. The way I ask question might not be the same way Baswana asks. Whatever he asks, I might not ask. And again, all the questions that will be thrown at you will again depend on the requirement. So suppose there is a requirement which is purely for manual and API testing. They're going to concentrate more on API testing. Okay, there's a client for PhonePe. So what they're going to concentrate, if they have a requirement on API testing, not just API testing, they might ask you about the payment gateway, or they might ask you about some scenarios on PhonePe, because almost everybody uses PhonePe or Google Pay, which wherein all of those applications work almost in the similar fashion, right? So that differs. So I don't have a typical set of questions, but yeah, some of the questions we have captured which are really very important and you need to know. So I think I've shared it on the group. I'll just open that and so first we'll go through the manual, okay, which are real-time questions. So introduce yourself. This is already being covered. What are the roles and responsibilities in your project? Can anybody try saying the roles and responsibilities? Basically, what have you done in your company? What are the responsibilities that you actually took up? Can everybody try? Try. Give it a try. It's okay.
Ma'am, can I try?
Yes, Pawan.
Yeah, ma'am. I worked as software test engineer with 2+ years of experience in manual testing of web-based application, API testing using Postman tool, and mobile application testing, which covers Android and iOS. I have experience in working with agile methodology and actively participating in daily stand-up meetings, retrospective meetings, and sprint planning meetings. Having good knowledge of software development life STLC and STLC as well as defect life cycle. Having a basic knowledge in creating a test plan, experience in writing feasible test scenarios with the test cases using test case design technique, and involved in reviewing test case. I have experience in functional testing, integration testing, system testing, adapt testing, smoke testing, sanitary testing, retesting, regression testing. I have overall experience in API testing using API Postman tool and having good knowledge on crude operations, good knowledge on tracking and reporting defects in terms of priority, with severity and defect tracking tool like Jira. I have involved in mobile application testing across Android, iOS platforms, having good knowledge on ADB commands, good experience in Charles Proxy browse table, good experience on working with Android Studio, and I have good knowledge of SQL statements like DDL, DML, DQL for backend testing. And this is my overall experience.
Okay, so please try to understand. Are you trying to say this in the self introduction, or are you going to say this when they ask you about your roles and responsibilities that you had in when working in an organization or your previous project?
Roles and responsibility.
So you're not going to put this under experience, is it?
Yeah, no.
Okay, good. But I have few points that I need to mention.
Yeah.
Whatever you try to convey, yeah, you covered most of the things, but when you said you have good experience in Charles Proxy, when you said you have good experience in ADB commands, let me ask you a question. You are done with ADB tool, right? A simple question. Do you know how to take logs in ADB? Sorry, Android Studio.
Yeah.
How? How? Pawan.
Yeah.
You're turning your pages, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, no need.
Yeah.
This is not being covered in your class. Okay,
Yeah.
this is not being covered in your class. So there are two questions. So it has been taught that you have your Android Studio, your device will be shown. If you connect, your emulators will be shown in the device manager section. Your devices will be shown along with your what? Your physical device. The emulators will be shown. There you have to select particular device, and then for that particular device, since you also have the command prompt, you pass the ADB commands and you take the log for that particular device. Yes or no? So what
Yes.
my question is, without using ADB commands, just with the Android Studio, how to take talks? Was this covered, guys? Does anybody remember?
On emulator, ma'am.
Not just on the emulator. I'm speaking about
Okay.
Android Studio. How do you take logs in the Android
Oh,
Studio?
we have an icon. Like it's not. We don't have notes, ma'am. But on Android Studio, whenever we open an emulator, no, down we can see the logs, no.
Correct. So down we can see the logs, but how do you capture those logs? You have any idea?
Using ADB commands, we know, ma'am.
No. Without using ADB commands, just with the Android Studio, do you know how to take logs? So my point is, it's okay, forget it. It's okay, forget it. That has not been taught to you. Okay, it's okay. Somehow it was missed, or I don't know why it was not covered.
Actually, we can take logs on the left side. There is like a icon, like export logs in Android Studios.
Okay, so there are various ways, but what I'm trying to say is, whenever, just because Pawan mentioned, he was not trying to explain his roles and responsibilities. Instead, he was trying to explain his skill sets. What do you mean by roles and responsibilities? So, what was the additional roles, responsibilities with respect to your role? What was the responsibility that was actually given to you? Basically, he was saying that I have experience doing this, I have experience in this, I have good knowledge on this. All your knowledge doesn't come into picture. What have you done? What were you responsible for with respect to your project? What were you responsible for? Maybe a simple example I could give you is review. Okay, that's not a skill set that you have, but you were responsible for reviewing the test cases. Do you get this, guys? Do you get this? So the answer, some of the points, for example, ADB, you can put some of the points for ADB under roles and responsibilities, but as a QA, what were the responsibilities that you had? You were involved in giving KT to the juniors. So you were involved in providing the review comments. Okay. So some more additional points that you can add, but I don't want to specify. Okay. This is all homework for you guys. You need to prepare. I'm not saying whatever Pawan said is wrong. Again, okay. Please take it seriously and prepare some points on your responsibilities. I can share you some documents for roles and responsibilities, but yeah, so please mention that you have worked on this, but don't say like whenever you said no, Pawan, whenever you spoke about your roles and responsibilities, it was some kind of whatever you have by hearted, and you just when I as soon as I asked you, just threw it away. Okay, so please don't answer it like this. That
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some pauses, have some comma, full stop, wait when you start with the next point. Okay, and if you don't know completely about Android Studio, see, now ADB commands, whatever you know, whatever is being taught, that is good enough. Just with that, you can say that you have very good exposure working on or executing ADB commands. You know all the commands, all the important commands. If you learn, that is more than enough. But when it comes to Android Studio, there are many other features. That's a tool, right? That's a tool. So there are many other features which you are not aware of. So don't say that you have very, very good experience in Android Studio. Say that, yeah, in my project, so every day I was not using Android Studio. So sometimes whenever required, whenever I had some device shortage, whenever I had to work on or test the application on a particular version. Okay, so that time I was using emulator whenever that particular device for that for a particular OS version, if it is not available, the physical device, if it is not available, then I was using Android Studio. So it is not mandatory for you to use the Android Studio every day. You get that, right? So again, API testing, it's not necessary you do API testing each and every day. If you're purely an API tester, then yeah, there is a possibility that you might work on or do API testing each and every day. But if you are purely working on a web application, or you're working mainly on the functional part or the front end part, then you might do API testing, not all the time, but yeah, sometime in some when the UI is not developed, then the developer might ask you to test the APIs. Okay, just to ensure that whether the functionality is working fine, whether his code is working fine. So when does the API test come into picture? What is the advantage of doing API testing? API testing can be done even before the UI is developed. Yes or no? So to perform API testing, you don't need UI. Yes or no?
Yeah, ma'am.
Right? But that doesn't mean that after UI is developed, API testing is not required. It doesn't mean that. Okay? Even after developing UI, you can do API testing. You have to do API testing. Okay? So that is one advantage. So please try to understand. Okay? Please try to understand the scenario-based questions, how it might be asked. Okay? Now they might ask you something like, can you tell me the flow of testing? Okay, flow of testing. Say for example, you have something. So how does the communication happen between? So you are in the login page. Okay, you have the login field, password field, and then you have a submit button. Then you provide some data. I'm not specifying this. These are kind of interview questions. How the interviewer is trying to ask you question. I enter some data in the username and the password field and or the OTP field, say Flipkart or any other application. I click on submit. What actually happens? What actually happens? This is the question. How does the data flow happen? What actually takes it? Where does it check? And what will be the response? How it is going to do all this? What is actually important here? So all these things, when I ask these kind of questions, you feel like it is very vague question. Yes or no? Did you understand what I asked? Guys, are you understanding? Can anybody answer?
Ma'am, the question is about what is happening in the backend, right?
Correct. Yes. So when you attend few interviews, when you start to understand the application, or when you start to uh, understand the real-time questions, then only you can understand these type of questions and answer. Okay. So basically what he's asking is what is it happening in the backend? So basically what happens, it is just the UI where you have the login field and the password field. When I click on submit, what actually happens? There will be an API call. What is an API? What actually happens? So basically it is a call which actually takes the request. What is the request? The username and the password. So that combination is going to pick the username. Suppose if I say Apurva is my username, password is Apurva@123. I pick those two combinations of username and password. I take it as a part of response, give it to the data, search it in the database. So there in the database is going to fetch me the status, whether this particular user with the username Apurva and with the password Apurva@123. There, if I search only for, I mean, if the API checks or searches just for Apurva, there can be hundreds of Apurvas in a Facebook account or in Flipkart, right? People can have multiple accounts with that name. So it is going to check with the combinations. So you might say, even if it checks with combinations, would the password be same? No, we don't allow same passwords or the combination of username and password to be same for different users. Some of the applications. So what do we say about that? That is the unique identifier. Combination of username and password is the unique identifier. So please try to remember this word. It's the unique identifier. So in SQL or in database, you might have heard about this, the primary key. All of you know about primary key?
Yeah, ma'am.
What is primary key?
It's a unique key and
It's
also
a combination of not null and unique.
unique key.
Okay. Good. Okay. So basically, there you might have heard about the uniqueness. So here also, whenever we try to create a resource, when I say you resource, say when I try to create a user is nothing but resource here. When I try to create an activity, resource is activity here. I try to update the user is the resource. So ultimately, on what I'm doing some activity, on what I'm doing some task or work, updation or deletion or creation, what am I doing? What is that action that I'm actually performing on which particular feature or component? So that is the resource. They might ask you a question, what do you mean by resource in API? API class is done for you, right? What do you mean by resource? I mean, whenever you answer, the definitions are important, but yeah, examples are still more important. You get this? Okay, what do you mean by resource? What has been taught in your API class?
Post request. Like we can create a new resource.
What do you mean by a resource? Okay, so try to understand. We'll take Amazon. I'll give you an example. Okay, we'll take Amazon. Okay, now basically in Amazon, what do we create? What we can delete? What we can update? Come on, very simple.
Add the product. We can delete.
Yes or no? Others? Is it product?
Create, you're asking, or add, ma'am?
Add or create. Basically, when I say create,
Okay.
it is nothing but add. So we can add a product or we can create a product. Okay. So when I say create, I actually spoke in API terms. Okay. So we can create a product. We can update the product. So here, what is the resource? Product is the resource. Right? Product is the resource. So this is the example that I can give you. Okay. Now understood about the resource. When they ask you resource, give some examples and try to answer. With respect to your project, you will be on safer side. They might ask you some other application. If you give some other application example, they will just keep on asking questions on the same application. So please make sure that you give examples. I mean, most of the application examples, please try to give from your application. Okay. Or with your domain, e-commerce domain. Okay. So yeah. A few more questions. 1 second. I'll just open that. Please prepare the roles and responsibilities. What is a test plan? What are all the sections present in your test plan? All of you know this test plan covered?
Yeah, ma'am.
So you guys are aware, right? See, here one more question. Were you involved in preparation of test plan? Or they might ask you, what is test plan? What do you know about test plan? Did you get a chance to prepare a test plan? Did you get a chance to look at the document or test plan which was already prepared? So here, please say that if you have less than 2 years of experience or equal to 2 years of experience, 2.5, say that no, you never had a chance to prepare the test plan document. Usually test plan document will be prepared by the leads or the managers. Okay, they sit together and they prepare the test plan because they are the ones who decide on which are all the tools that needs to be used for testing purpose, which are all what are all the deliverables that needs to be considered, which are all the environments that needs to be worked on for this particular project, right? So there are various aspects that they consider, and that is how they prepare the test plan document. So you were not involved. Please be cautious when they ask you, were you involved in preparation of test plan? Say no, I did not get a chance to prepare test plan. It was done by my managers, test manager and my lead. Okay. Otherwise, you can also say like, it was already prepared. I do not know when it was prepared, but yeah, it was already prepared. I have just gone through the document maybe last year or a couple of months back. I got a chance to look at the document. How does that document look? It can be a PDF file. Okay, the test plan document. You can say that it was a test plan, or sorry, what is that? It was in the PDF format, or they have saved it in the Confluence. Okay, various options you have. Just say, I mean, to be on the safer side, say it was a PDF document. If they ask you, you yourself, please don't say. Okay, that looks very dramatic. Okay, please don't say all that. Say that you did not get a chance to prepare. People who have 3+ years of experience, 3, 4, 5. Okay, please say that yes, you were involved in test plan preparation and whatever has been given to you, I mean, shared with you, the test plan document, please try to explain the same thing. So you don't have to add some more additional points to it. So just explain whatever you know, whatever is being taught to you in your manual class in a very generic way. Okay, don't consider an application and start explaining. Okay, just explain it in a very decent way. Any questions here? Okay, we'll move ahead. What are all the testings? What are all the testings that you have performed in your project? Which testings you have performed?
Functional integration, smoke, sanitary,
Hmm.
regression testing, ad hoc.
Please don't mention retesting, guys. Please don't mention retesting as a part of type of testing. Okay, retesting is not a type of testing. It's just a name given whenever you try to test the fixed bug. You call it as retesting. Okay, to make sure that the fix is available. Okay, the bug is not present and it is working properly. Okay, that is retesting. So please don't mention that, all of you. Okay, what next? Pawan. What are all the other types of testings that you have done?
Smoke, sanitary, regression.
Please be careful. It is not sanitary. It is sanity. Okay.
Oh, sorry, not sorry. As civil engineer, it becomes sanitary.
That's okay, but you cannot say the same thing in an interview, right? Okay. 1 second. One second. I just got a mail. 1 second. So most of the, I was just looking at the job market now. It is actually in a very good state. People are getting very good. 1 second. I'll just check what it is. What is this? I'm sorry. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, so what was that we were discussing? Types of testing. Done. That is done. Any other testing that you perform?
Exploratory testing.
Please consider mobile application testing, not just the web application testing. Okay. So please try to differentiate both. So when it comes to web application testing, I was performing these type of testing, and when I was working on mobile application testing, I was performing all the testings that I performed on web. The same thing I used to do it on mobile. In addition to that, what all I added once? Which are all the other types of testing that you perform on the mobile?
Installation testing, network testing.
Yes.
Gesture
All that
testing.
is important. Yes. So yes, this what is that? Interruption testing is actually very important. Also the orientation. Okay, because some of the applications, the orientation might change. In some of the applications, it remains the same. So please mention these two. They are actually very important. Okay. In integration testing, what have you tested? What did you do in integration testing?
We test like whether the data flow is happening from between two pages or between two features. Like from
Examples.
Like
Huh.
for example, if I'm adding the product to the cart page from product listing page, it has to be added to the cart. I
Okay.
should see the same item in the cart page.
Can you think any out of the box scenario? Some edge case, not edge case, out of the box. When I say out of the box, kind of negative or something which usually the user doesn't do much. You should guys, you should be ready with all these examples. Okay. Think.
About integration.
For integration.
Ma'am,
I can
like,
give you some examples, but I don't want you to stick on to the same example. If all of you say the same example, then that is not going to help. Correct? And for 6 to 7 people who are present here, if I keep on thinking and giving you each one example each, then there's no point in that. So I'm not I'm not supposed to spoon feed you. I have to give time for you to think, and all of you should come up with different answers. Okay, somebody was saying something. Afreen, or who was that? Guys, are you able to hear me?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think Afreen, you were saying something.
Ma'am, you want negative test case, ma'am? Negative.
See, when I say out of the box, what do you mean by out of the box?
Should be different than usual.
Yes, different than usual. That's all. Not specifically negative.
So if I log in with some credentials, with my name as Afin Taj, then my account should show, the profile should show same name. Will it be integration, ma'am? Like from login
All that
page to?
is the basic functional testing, right?
Okay. If I add the items more than the limit and then I delete, like, will it show the same in the add to cart button, like add to cart page?
Yeah, but I cannot say all those as out of box. I can give you some examples like multiple taps on the same button. At a time you tap, internet connection. Very simple examples I'm trying to give you. Okay, and you have a Google form that you need to fill. Okay, or any submission, some Google form, or any other form that you need to submit. You open the form, you fill in some details, you click on back button. What should happen to the data? So usually nobody thinks about this, right? Even the developer might not think about this, or he might not have covered the scenario, how the application needs to behave when you fill the form. Maybe few of the fields or all the fields, you fill the form and then you click on the back button. Okay, once you come back to the same page, should it hold the data that whatever you had entered, or should it show blank fields or all fields as blank? Okay, so this again depends on the requirement. You cannot decide how it has to show. Okay, if you can decide, if you know, if you have expertise, yeah, you can go ahead. But if you do not have expertise, if you do not know, and you don't want to take risk, good to go person is who? The BA, right? So you have to go to him or ping him, ask him, this is the scenario, this is not been handled. Okay, so even the developer is not aware. See, same like you, even the developer, what is his job? Just to develop the application. Even he doesn't know whatever is the requirement given, like how you test, the same way he's going to develop, right? As per his understanding. So even he doesn't know. So that's the reason I'm approaching you. So please tell me how the situation needs to be handled. So you have to go to the BA and ask him. Once he gives you the feedback, accordingly the developer is going to develop, and same thing, you have to test it. Okay, somebody ping me on chat. Okay, suppose there is a bug missed. Can you tell who has missed the bug? Is it dev team or testing team? How to answer this? Okay, see, basically, I'll tell you. The funda is developers are born to develop and testers are born to test. Okay, this is your job. Okay, so developers can make mistakes. Nobody is going to say anything. Even if developer makes hundreds of mistakes, the lead or your manager wouldn't call the developer for the mistake. Okay, let's say a bug was missed. Okay, and it went to the production. Okay, in production the clients find some issues and they're going to escalate it. Okay, they're going to call the management or the development team, and they're going to inform the manager maybe. So they're going to say that, see, there's a bug which has been found, and because of which the application has been broken. Okay, this is a failure. So all that drama they'll do, and now the manager will come back to whom? First thing that they're going to check is who tested this particular feature. They're not going to see who developed it. They're going to see who tested this feature? Okay, was it Pawan? Call him. Hey Pawan, why did you miss this bug? You cannot say why did you miss. It was missed somehow. It was missed somehow. Maybe you were not aware. Maybe it was working fine, but you do not know how it got missed. How the bug was actually sent. Okay, you don't know how it happened. Somehow it was missed. Okay, but they want some reason why it was missed. Why it was missed. So you have no other choice than to accept it and just shut your mouth. That's all. But how you can answer? What is the question? So suppose there's a bug missed. You can tell who has missed the bug. Is it dev team or the testing team? But it doesn't mean that as a tester, when you think as a tester, it doesn't mean that the developer can make mistakes. He should also be cautious while developing, and he should also consider all the requirement points. Okay, even though out of box scenarios he should consider and he should develop. See, if we allow developer to make mistakes, what does he do? He'll keep on making mistakes, right? He doesn't give a build which is stable at all, right? So it doesn't mean that the developer can have like thousands of bugs in his code that he has written. There are minimum number of bugs there's a limit, right? So that is where testers come into picture. And what they do, testers, they pick bugs which are in the very corner case, somewhere here, there, in all possible ways. They try to test it, and the main goal is to give 100% bug-free software. Correct? But if the developer himself is making too many mistakes in the code, then it leads to failure. Correct? So see, when I'm telling you all this, I'm not telling you a story, okay? All these examples can be, maybe not for this question, but yeah, sometime in your interview, these examples might be helpful. Okay? So you have to bring in all these situations. Okay? You have to explain. It doesn't mean that always developer has to test it, or he's the one who will be blamed for it. Okay, it can also be the developer. Sometimes I have seen in my previous companies, like if the tester has missed or the developer has missed, and even the managers or the product owner was not aware of it. Okay, there could be some issue which might come up in future, something like this. Okay, they are not even aware that, okay, this kind of scenario is actually existing. This kind of test case we should have tested. Nobody is aware. Okay, only the end users know, because they are the ones who use it every day in their day-to-day life. So that is how they know. There was a situation, it happened sometime back. We had a link, okay? In one of the page, we had a link. Okay, this actually happened in life, I remember. There was a page where they had some links, view details. So I'll just show you, give an example. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll open a product. Okay, so here is the link. Okay, here is the link. Usually, how do you open this link? How do you open?
We will go click on that.
Click on that. What should happen? It should take me to the other page.
New page.
Right? Some new page. But what was happening was, see, usually end users, do you have any other scenario the way I can click on this link? No, even I didn't know. I mean, nobody in my team knew this. But the end users, that was not an e-commerce application, that was an internal application. Okay. So what actually happened? The end users who were actually using the application, they were using some shortcut. They were placing the cursor and they were using some shortcut, control. I don't know what shortcut they were using, but they were just using some shortcut and they were trying to open that link. They used to do it since a very long time. Since a few years, they were actually trying to open the link in the same way. So what was happening? The page was not opening when they used that shortcut. So, like for few years, it was working, and suddenly that broke. after a build that was actually released. Okay, so now they all came back, the client came back, and they're saying that this is not working, this is a blocker issue for us. See, if you think about a BP or any service based application, not BPO, any service based application, what happens there, they have a pattern of if it is a data entry job, so you have a pattern of work, right? So what they used to do was they were using some shortcut to open that link, that's all. They had some work pattern which everybody in their team, everybody in that particular company, okay, were using. So they were using a shortcut where the page was not opening. So as a tester or as a developer, as a product owner, as a BA, as a manager, I have never come across the shortcut to open a link. I did not know you can even do it like this. I mean, that was specific only for that application. Don't think you can use a shortcut and open this link here. But yeah, so they were using it in that way, and we got that issue, and that was actually escalated. But later we got to know that, yeah, we did not know, nobody in the development team knew about this, that you are using the application in such a way. So yeah, we'll fix it is what they told, and we fixed it. But basically, when they ask you this question, you have to accept that, Afreen, the question that you mentioned, okay? Suppose there's a bug that has been missed, can you tell who missed the bug? So basically, it is a mistake of a tester. Even in an interview, mention that it is a mistake of a tester, because testers are the ones who should give the sign off, right? So they are the ones who will do the quality check, right? So they are responsible for anything that is being missed. Okay, I agree. Developer is also responsible for leaking the bugs, but it is the responsibility of a tester to make sure that there are no bugs. Okay, clear? That means indirectly you're saying that you're accepting that it is my responsibility. You're saying that you're showcasing your responsibility. Yes, I agree. If a mistake is being done, if if the tester misses something, or if anybody misses something, I can take responsibility on myself that it was me who missed it. So basically, the interviewer is expecting that answer from you. Okay. So that should be your approach. Clear on this?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is all kind of story. So please try to understand. Next question.
Ma'am, one question, ma'am.
How?
When we click on that link, it will redirect to the new page, ma'am.
Right.
One is a normal one. When we right click and open that in a new tab, then it is showing a blank page. It is a bug, no, ma'am?
Absolutely. Yes. That's also a bug. See, this can be a scenario which you might have missed. Usually, what do we do? The link. We just click it. Just go back and see. So it is working actually. But yeah, this is how you need to test all these various scenarios. Good, Shrikant. So you need to think like this. Any other question?
Ma'am, if there's a mistake in the link, ma'am, there's some spelling mistake or something. So
Okay.
it's going to be of high priority or high severity?
See, if there is a spelling mistake, then it is of low priority. If it is a spelling mistake, ideally, when I click on the link, an API call happens and it is going to fetch the next page or next or some data, correct? So backend is not an issue. Backend is working fine. It is just the UI representation where I have just put some text that looks like a word to you, right? So it is just, if it is just the spelling mistake, it is purely a front-end issue and the priority will be low.
What about severity, ma'am?
Severity,
the link?
Severity, I can say that it can be medium. Again, it depends on where that particular link is present. If it is present in the home page, or if it is present somewhere like we have about us, right? So when I open about us, if it is present somewhere inside about us, so usually how frequently does the user open about us or contact us? The frequency is very less, correct? So there I can mention it as low priority, very low priority. Okay. If it is in the home page itself or in the product details page, Okay, what I do, I not just e-commerce application. Take a generic application where you add some user. Okay, you add a user or you create a user in hospital management system. Okay, uh, the patient approaches the hospital, so there will be a receptionist. They will take all the details, and that will be in their LIS, lab information system or hospital information system. Okay, they have a system or the database that has been stored. Correct. Now, the second time when I visit the hospital, so what they are going to search, I might have some unique ID. Or what would be my unique ID? It could be mobile number, because each individual will have for sure different mobile numbers. Okay, mobile numbers cannot be same, so they're going to search my details with the help of the mobile number. When they click on the mobile number, there will be one row that will be shown, or there will be my mobile number will be shown, and next to my mobile number, view details link will be shown. When I click on view details link, okay, all my details will be shown in the next page. You get this scenario, all of you? Now tell me, in that link, if there is a spelling mistake, what would the severity be? What is the severity? Guys, you have to speak up. I'm asking you very simple questions. You have to be quick.
Because our details are there.
But your details are there, but it is just a link where the spelling mistake is present. Okay, so you can make it as medium but not high. Okay, just one small spelling mistake, you cannot keep the severity as high. Okay, maybe
if some link is there which has been affecting the business, then it will be high, right?
See, if it is with respect to the this is a spelling mistake that you mentioned. Okay, if it is with respect to the example that who's that Shrikant gave. Okay, usually what we do, we click on a link direct, which is the left click we do on the mouse, right? Suppose if you right click and then open it in new tab. Okay, there if you're getting a blank page, then the severity is high again. Maybe it is working in the left click, but in the right click it is not working. Then also the severity is high. You get this? You get the difference? So that is the functionality. But the previous example that you mentioned was the what is that? Spelling mistake. So when it comes to spelling mistake, any spelling mistake anywhere, okay, please have the severity as low. Okay? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In what have you tested? In payment, how you tested UPI ID? Huh. Now tell me, payment gateway is done for you. Okay, this is part of it. Okay. In payment, how did you test the UPI ID?
UPI ID. First, we'll test for valid UPI ID, and then invalid UPI ID. We'll have two test cases.
We'll not just two. There are many more. Think about it. Basically, when the UPI ID needs to be created, okay. Do you have an option to customize your ID? Guys, all of you, please speak. If you have not used it, then you have to explore it. I understand many of you have not used, you don't use it very frequently. But yeah, you need to explore and try to understand. You cannot just give some reason saying that I do not know. Nikita, Sneha.
Ma'am, as per my idea, it will be auto-generated, ma'am. UPI.
Auto-generated. Which bank?
Ma'am?
Which application, which bank are you speaking?
In PhonePe application, ma'am.
Okay. It is auto-generated. In any other application, have you seen where you can customize it? Puneet? Pavan?
Yes, Apurva. We can customize the UPI ID as per what we want.
Right. So you might have seen that you cannot customize it. It is auto-generated. Yes, it is auto-generated, but yeah, you also have an option that where you can customize it. So there, there will be a format. Like, for example, in email ID, what is the format? There should be the domain, and then @ and then there should be a domain name, @ and after before @ what should be there, after @ what needs to be there, and are the dots allowed? What is that? Dots are allowed or not? Numerics are allowed or not? Before dots, what numbers are allowed or not? Special characters are allowed or not? So all these other special characters other than @, so others are allowed or not? So there is, when you have your PAN card number, so there is a format, right? For PAN card number, what is the format?
First letters, then number.
Then
Sorry,
number.
no, first alphabet, then number.
So usually for PAN, it is first 5 alphabets, 4 numbers, and then 1 alphabet. Okay, and I think somewhere in the 5th letter or the 4th letter, I don't remember. It is same. It has been defined or predefined. I don't remember what it is. 3rd letter, I guess. Okay. No worries. So this is about the format. Okay. So you need to check for the formats. Is there any format that is being defined? So for different banks, do you have any different UPI IDs that I can generate? So all these things you need to test. Like somebody mentioned only 2 cases. When I say the test cases for UPI ID, starting from generation for different banks, different applications. So consider all those scenarios. Okay. And then say whether that is a valid one or not, whether it is an invalid one. Try to do the transaction with that UPI ID. Whether the transaction is successful, whether it is failure. If it is failure, then what is the reason for failure? Okay. And when you actually add that UPI ID, if it is invalid, then there only they're going to throw the inline error. When I say inline error, some validation. As soon as you enter, some validation will happen, and it will say maybe it is not of a right format, or this is already existing. That is also very important. There can be a possibility that the UPI ID can be existing. So since it takes the mobile number, the chances are less. But yeah, this is a case that you need to cover. Even though it is not possible, you have to cover those test cases. Okay, understood, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll proceed further. Afreen, you got it?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Positive and negative scenarios for debit and credit card. I'm not giving you specific answers, but you can say a few more examples. But when we discuss, right, you get to know how you can think. Okay. What was that? Positive and negative scenarios for negative scenarios for debit and credit card. Okay, now tell me, what are the scenarios that you can have for the debit and credit card? Okay, we'll take only debit card for now. All of you might not have credit card, so we'll take only debit card. And now tell me, what are all the scenarios, cases for debit card? Don't tell me just with respect to the UI, the numbers that it has. Okay, everything needs to be covered. Functionality also needs to be covered. Okay, Afreen, go ahead.
Expiration date of the credit card is there, or debit card is present or not. And then limit has exceeded while doing the payments.
Be clear when you answer. I can just get the first half of the point.
Okay. First one, like whenever we are making payments using our debit card, we verify that whether verify that it should not work if the expiry date is done. And also we should verify when we are doing payments using a debit card, it should not exceed the limit.
Okay.
Then,
Apurva, may I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, setting a withdrawal limit for a certain amount, which is working is a positive case, which does not work is a negative case.
Which is not working as a negative case.
No,
Sorry,
no.
come again.
If I've set a withdrawal limit as a 10,000 and
Okay.
I could, and it happened, I could only withdraw 10,000 after that it threw an error. So it will be considered as a positive test case. I
Correct.
set a limit as 10,000, but I'm able to withdraw more than 10,000. It is a negative test case.
Correct.
So I just,
No, that is not a negative test case. Instead, that will be a bug.
Yeah.
You mentioned the positive case, but along with a bug. So please don't get confused with the bug and the negative test case. When I say negative test case, the case that you're mentioning itself should be negative.
Okay.
You get that?
Yeah.
Did you get the difference now?
Yeah, I got it.
There is slight. Okay, that was a miss. Okay, maybe you missed it somewhere, but yeah, please be aware. Interviewer will catch you there.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Pavan, you had something?
Card should contain only a valid 16 digits
Okay, correct.
printed on it. Yeah.
That's card number. Whether it is if it's a debit card, it's a debit card number. If it's a credit card number. Okay. It should contain 16. If it is containing less, then it should not contain less than 16. It should not have more than 16. Okay. CVV number, you check for it, and you check for the hologram.
Hologram should be hologram.
Yes,
Signature area.
Correct. Not all the cards. Not all the cards. Signature would be maybe that is very. I mean that is card specific. Okay.
Smart
Few of the
chip.
cards.
Ma'am, credit card number is masked or not? You can check.
Okay. Okay. Why? Why is it necessary to mask?
Privacy, ma'am. Like
correct. Okay. That's enough. That's enough.
encryption.
Okay. Good. What else? What else you will test?
OTP about the card.
OTP?
If you enter card details from phone number, we get the OTP, ma'am. Like,
No, we are just speaking about the card functionality or card details. How do you test with the card details?
Select debit card and enter some card detail. We display the bank name, like which bank we use.
Ma'am, can we check by default is it saving the credit card details or not?
Where by default? Can you elaborate?
For example, I'm using multiple cards. Okay. Once I have used it, when I use it for the second time while entering or something, is it storing it or not or something like that?
Will it really store the data? I don't think so.
It should not happen, no?
It should not happen. Yes, that should not happen. Okay. That is the reason why I told you whenever you answer, be clear with your, mention the complete point of view. I mean, what you think. It should not accept is what you need to mention. Okay. So if you just say that the first part of it, then I would be thinking like, okay, that is not valid. Okay, that's a negative
okay, ma'am. I'll work on it.
Yeah. Not just me, okay? Don't take me wrong. Not just me. The interviewer will think it in that way. Okay?
It's like first time I'm answering in this way.
That's
like
okay. That's okay. No problem. No problem. I'm telling you to learn. So if you learn, that's really good. Okay? Not just you, Afreen. At least you're answering. There are few people who don't even answer. Okay? So better than others. Okay? Afreen, did you feel bad?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Guys, I'm not that strict, okay? I'm not so serious, please. But I need to be. Okay? Yeah. Otherwise, people take advantage of it and yeah.
No, ma'am. I myself being in education field, I understand this. Yeah, I know this.
All right. So what is the next question? Debit and credit card. Test scenarios for integration testing with given valid UPI ID. Okay, test scenarios for integration testing with given valid UPI ID. What do you understand by this? This is half not a clear question. For integration testing with given valid UPI ID.
So after entering the valid UPI ID, the process should happen.
Okay.
The payment should happen.
Correct. So it is, so multiple modules come into picture here. That is where they have mentioned it as integration. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. So here comes the functionality. So in the earlier state, we said in payment, how do you test the UPI ID? Maybe it is with respect to the creation or the functionality, but here they have specifically mentioned it as functionality. Which type of functionality? Integration. So multiple modules come into picture. The data flow should happen. How do you do this? No problem. Think and answer.
Ma'am, when we proceed with the payment by using a valid UPI ID,
Okay.
Then we should see the deduction in our balance, ma'am. That we should get a pop-up message or notification that payment is done, and then it should also show in our balance, ma'am, when we check in our account.
Yeah, before that,
Okay.
Apurva,
It's on to
that
reflect.
exact
It's on
app
to
should get the
reflect.
pop-up.
Just a minute, Puneet. Just a minute. Please hold
Yeah.
on. Hold on with your answer. Let her complete. Sorry, Afreen. Tell me.
Also, the payment deducted in our account should be reflected, the same amount of deduction.
Okay.
If I have done some, for example, if I have done 50 rupees payment, same amount of deduction should be shown here in my account balance page. So it will be an integration by using valid UPI ID.
Okay. Pawan. Sorry, Puneet.
Sorry to interrupt, Apurva. I think
No
my
problem.
network issue. There was a silence, so I answered. The thing is, when the API ID is validated, the respective app should pop up there for the payment, for proceeding the payment.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, after entering the UPI ID, the respective app should pop up a notification for the payment. If I'm giving an UPI related to PhonePe, my PhonePe should throw a notification that there is an app which is trying to give a payment for this UPI.
Okay. Okay.
So that's also a functionality, right?
Yes, that can be considered.
Okay.
Any other scenario? I want everybody to answer. Sneha, Shrikant is answering. I mean, but
after giving a valid UPI ID, while we are in entering the PIN number.
Shrikant, just wait for a minute. I'm just getting a call from Basana. 1 second. I'm sorry. Sorry, Shrikant. Go ahead. What was your point?
After entering the valid UPI ID, when we are about to pay, if there is any network issue, the payment will be unsuccessful due to the network issue.
So I can consider this, but we are speaking about the functionality of the UPI. So integration of UPI. So try to cover the flows with respect to the UPI ID. Okay. Say, for example, when you provide a valid UPI ID, or when you try to create a valid UPI ID, it has to work. So in the same way, that was the UPI ID creation part we spoke about. But this is the integration part. When you already have a valid UPI ID, or if you have an invalid UPI ID, okay, suppose with that you perform next level of flows. Okay, what will happen? I'm telling you in a very generic way. Okay, what will happen? Whether it should happen, is this what is expected, or it should work in the other way? So that I want you to understand. You get this, Shrikant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So please think about this. It's time. What was the question? Integration scenarios for UPI ID. So they have mentioned it as given valid UPI ID. So try to come up with few more scenarios with valid UPI ID. I'll just post this. Test scenarios for make a note of this, otherwise test scenarios. Okay, I have already shared the document in group. So under manual testing project related interviews questions, it's under manual testing project related interview questions. It is the 8th question. So please go through that. They have mentioned it as valid UPI ID. Again, in the interview, they might say something like integration testing for UPI ID. That is one flow. They might sometimes say integration testings for valid UPI ID or invalid UPI ID. So please understand the question correctly. Once they ask you the question, if you have some clarification, see, if they ask you just like UPI ID, then you need to cover both positive and negative cases. If they tell you valid UPI ID, only when given valid UPI ID, what are all the cases that you can cover, that you have to answer. If they mention it as invalid UPI ID, what should happen as soon as you try to create the invalid UPI ID, that you need to mention. Suppose if it is not throwing any error in some of the applications, I don't know how it is being handled. If it doesn't throw any error, then once you move forward with the payment, so when you do the payment, their integration testing comes into picture. So there, what will happen? So all these things you need to try. So what you need to do? Okay, does anybody have any question? Okay. Where is she? She joined or not? Okay, joined. Okay, so please think about it. And when the interviewer asks you some weird questions where you are struggling to understand, please take some time. When I say some time, don't take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, okay? Try to analyze, and once you understand, please go ahead with the answers. In case if you are not clear, if you don't have the clarity, if you're not clear with the questions that they have asked, ask them to repeat the question. Tell them, could you please repeat the question? That's enough. Okay, they'll explain in the same way. Or if you want it to be elaborated, the way they are asking you the question, you're not able to understand it. It is a twisted question, or some what you're not able to understand. Then you can ask them, could you please put this in some other form, so that I'm not able to understand. Just tell them that I'm not able to understand. So ask them to put it in some other form and ask you the same question. So they'll say, okay, I asked you this question. No, okay, we'll take an example and I'll ask you this question in some other way, so you can answer. So they're going to give you some examples and they'll ask you questions based on that. Now it is easy for you to understand the questions, and then you can answer. So please don't sit idle if you don't understand a question. If you do not know, that is another scenario. But if you know, or if you are not at all understanding what they're asking, then how can you say that you don't know? Right? So please don't lose the chance of asking the question or getting the clarifications on the question. Okay? All right. So please work on this particular question. Okay? And there are a few more questions. Please go through it, so that if you think now, it will be easy for us to discuss tomorrow. Okay? Shall we drop now?
Yes, question.
Okay.
Regarding